It's 6 o'clock, and so we'll call this first part of our Clayton City Council meeting together for June 15th. And Janet will call the roll. I'm sorry. Yes. Oh, there's Janet. She is coming in now. So.
And the clerk can call the roll. And
Janet, when she's ready, call the roll. Janet.
Councilmember Diaz.
Yes, present.
Councilmember Tillman.
Present.
Councilmember Juan.
Here.
Vice Mayor Cloven.
I'm here.
And Mayor Wolf.
Here as well, and we're all here. So let's get started with our Planning Commission vacancy. 3 candidates to be separately interviewed for 2 appointments with terms to expire on June 30th, 2023. And I understand our first candidate is in the room, Justin Cesarin. And Justin, please forgive me if I didn't say that correctly. We talked, did everybody get the order? Was that everybody okay with the order of questions today?
yes.
Yes. I appreciate that, folks. Thank you. Hi, Justin. Did I say your last name right, Cesarin?
You did not. You did not. Wolfie.
How do you say it?
Cesarin.
Cesarin.
Yeah.
That's good. That's
yeah.
good. Thank you. All right. Well, Justin Cesarin, welcome. And I'll start with welcoming you and asking you, why would you like to be a planning commissioner, and what specific skills do you bring to the planning commission?
Thank you, Mayor Wolf. I've been a part of Clayton, or in Clayton, for about 32 years now, and I feel it's a good way to give back and be a part of the community. Of course, I'm currently on the Trails and Landscape Committee, but this opening came up, so I'm happy to do more. We're going through a lot of changes right now, and I've lived through a lot of them in Clayton. So to be a part of that, to be active in those changes would feel right to me. I have a lot of, I come from a very wide background, from arts, education, healthcare, management, and I feel maybe it's not good, maybe it's not urban planning, but it is, but all of our backgrounds can bring a different light to different issues in the city. I don't know if these will get into different questions later, but we have an aging population, a less business activity downtown than we have had in the past when I first moved here in the late 80s. And I'd like to see that change and reflect the growth needs that we're being subject to. And also just encourage more people to our downtown, more commerce. So there's a lot of reasons, but that's what comes to the top of my head right now. And I'm just happy to.
So what specific skills do you bring besides you were a lighting guy, right? Or are you still a lighting guy?
That's funny. My family always calls me a lighting guy, but I don't do lights very much.
Can you fix this one for me, because I look kind of weird?
I can fix lighting. We're cross trained in everything in the theater, but it's and I was a technical director, so I had to do all that stuff. But I was more of a scenic designer, prop designer, and stage manager when it came to the theater. I've been a healthcare manager though for the past decade, so haven't been doing that much because theater is not the most lucrative business. But I do have construction management knowledge, drafting, mechanical drafting knowledge, organizational knowledge, team building skills, project management skills, everything, things that are needed to just look rationally at the projects that come before us and make a rational decision about them.
And you had some experience in contract law as well. Right?
I've been writing contracts for a long time, since I was in high school. Starting out with like acting contracts or location contracts for film, TV.
Yeah, we have something in common there.
Yeah, I was involved in City of Concord, even though I lived in Clayton, with their Street Smart series, with every 15 minutes, working on those. And I also I come from a family of public servants, and they, firefighters, policemen, military. I was not one of those, but I work in healthcare now. But this is more of in line of how I can serve. I'm not as big as my father or grandfather as a firefighter, but this is, even though this isn't a political role, this is more of a way I can give back to my community.
Well, thank you. We have something in common. My father was a police officer, so that's kind of good. Okay, so let's pass the hat over to Peter. You're on.
Greetings, Justin, and yes, there's going to be some replication relative to some of these questions, but you've answered some of this, but I'm going to give it a shot again. What are the most important issues facing the Clayton community? And then what is your vision for Clayton? Sure.
Well, thank you, Vice Mayor Cloven. Obviously, the arena requirements are coming up for the sixth cycle, and we need a plan to address the housing needs that are being imposed upon us. So that is just the general thing that we're all looking at, obviously. But I believe that the businesses in downtown are not. We don't have enough commerce in downtown to bring people in and generate tax revenue. I believe that a vacancy tax may be necessary for some businesses that have not that have leased spaces but not opened, or have closed closed during the pandemic and not looking to reopen because of any benefits that they're getting right now. And encouraging retail and restaurant growth downtown instead of just office space, like we're seeing a lot of downtown, which was not what was there when I first moved down here. With that, we need to maintain Clayton's essential character. It's why people love this town. Its feel, its vibe. But we do need to face the future and progress with it. We need more jobs that are local. I don't know if they'll be in Clayton necessarily because of the space we have, but we need to work with our neighboring communities to encourage jobs that could employ our citizens. We need to look at spaces that are maybe further out of the city center, closer to the border of Concord, for higher density housing where they have more access to transportation and jobs. And we need to also just listen more to our population. Again, like I said, the population isn't growing that much in Clayton, and it's aging, and we need some more younger families to move in, and we need to embrace the diversity of that's growing in our community, and encourage business owners, diverse business owners, to come in and add to the spirit of Clayton. So in the future, in the long run, I hope to see Clayton maybe annex more land if we need to fill in the arena requirements, but to respond to them in a way that doesn't impact the downtown area, the traffic flow, and the safety, and really makes more sense to the community as far as transportation and jobs are concerned, and aesthetics too.
All right. Thank you. Councilmember Juan.
Yeah, how would you describe your personal level of tolerance for views that you may disagree with? And I guess further, how do you approach those matters, and how do you form your decisions?
Thank you. I am very tolerant to different ideas. I take generally a pragmatic instead of an ideological view of things. I look at the facts and make a determination along with if it's borderline, we're going to have to I might take a utilitarian view of how to address those problems. But generally, I like to listen to other people because we all have something to add, and maybe I'll learn something and can change my view. But we just need more listening and understanding, and then we can come to better outcomes, I believe.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
Good. All right, Jim.
Jim?
Councilmember Diaz. No, we can maybe move over and let Holly do her question, and when Jim, something's going on there. So Holly.
My microphone went off. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We don't see you at all.
The gremlins arrived or something. But anyway, there's a significant shortage of housing within the state of California, and of course, the state legislature has recently enacted a number of housing issues and laws to mandate communities add to it, and a variety of various types that go beyond just a single family dwelling. My questions are, one, what are your thoughts about public policy, and how does a Clayton Planning Commissioner fit into this equation?
Thank you, Jim. What are my thoughts on public policy and the Planning Commission is the Planning Commission is meant to review plans, do environmental review, basically act as a filter for the council and the city. And our job isn't to be ideological. Our job would be to look at the public policy and what we're presented with, and make a determination if the plans presented are reasonable and aligned with those those policies. We should work with them. We should work as far as we can, maybe as an extension of the council and the city, to make sure that the public's voices are being heard and views are being understood. But beyond that, we're just meant to follow what the policy is from the state, and in accordance with the ordinances and such with the city. Is
Great.
that pretty much answer? Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Jim.
And if I may just follow up, you have a significant amount of education, and you're continuing to pursue that, which I think is very admirable. And I believe that if you are selected, you will bring a very, I say intellectual, but a very capable perception of issues to the Planning Commission. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. I appreciate that.
Thank you. Okay, and Holly, we'll wrap it up. We've got just a couple minutes left. So
I'm sorry.
So
right.
I'll just make this succinct. So the meetings are every other Tuesday. There's going to be a large packet of information for you to digest. That'll probably take about 10 to 20 hours per month. In addition to that, do you think you can commit to additional meetings if they're necessary? What is your time commitment like?
I am used to keeping busy, and I live off of that. So I love research. I love reading. I love comparing it to what the ordinances are and learning about the law. And it's kind of fun for me. And although on paper I do look busy, I do have plenty of time set aside. I mean, I was taking like 2 to 3 classes before for my PhD program, and now I'm just doing one at a time, and then my dissertation's coming up. So that's all. I have a lot of extra free time to read more. So
Great.
yeah, and I'm happy to serve on whatever committees or whatever the council needs me for, the city needs me for.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you, Holly.
well, Justin, thanks a lot for coming in. Is there anything you have, any questions you have for us?
I don't at this time, but I know you have 2 other great candidates. So if you don't pick me, it's fine. I understand, and I won't hold it against you.
Oh, well, thank you.
Okay.
All right, Justin, we appreciate it.
All right. Thank you. Thanks for
Take
having
care.
me. Bye.
Thanks for coming in. All right. They don't mess up all the rest of these names now. Is Maria Schulman in the queue here in the waiting room? We see Maria.
Yes.
Okay. We'll wait for Maria to unmute and then we'll get started.
Hello.
Hello. Can you hear us?
Good evening.
Good evening.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can't see you though, but we can hear you.
I don't know why.
So we'll go ahead and get started. And first of all, welcome. We really appreciate your being here and stepping up as you're doing. Why? Oh, there you are.
I appreciate the opportunity.
And so why would you like to be a planning commissioner? And what specific skills would you bring to the planning commission?
I want to be a planning commissioner, first of all, because I love Clayton and I love the people in Clayton. And I believe some of the skills that I would bring are being able to communicate, open communication with people. I'm very analytical. I analyze everything. I look at all the data. I always fall into that research rabbit hole. Some of the other things are I like to be fair when it comes to everybody. And I work with a very diverse population. So I take everybody's views into consideration. I think I'm fair and open-minded in that respect.
Great. All right. Peter?
Excellent, Maria. Curious, what do you think the most important issues are that are facing the Clayton community currently? And what is your vision for the city of Clayton?
Some of the most important issues, I think, housing and clearing up some of the vacant buildings and offices that are around town. They've been there. I mean, I've been here 12 years, and some of those buildings downtown have had vacant offices since then, or even before then. And I really think that, something needs to be done about that. I know it's private ownership. However, I really think that if the city is able to, they should initiate a tax or some kind of levy that they need to fill these offices up or buildings up, because it doesn't do any good sitting vacant. Because to be honest, I've seen kids, I don't know if anybody else has seen it, but down where the creek is, not towards where they come down for the middle school, but over towards La Veranda, there was a swastika painted down there. I've gone down with trash bags and I've picked up so much garbage down there. There's a lot of graffiti down in that area. That's just, it's terrible. It's horrendous. And some of the kids, if you see any of their Snapchat, they're taking pictures with the graffiti, and it's just nasty. And what was the second part of your question? Oh, the housing. I think housing is a big issue, especially with the high density. I understand that all these laws and mandates are being put into place. However, we have to look at the size of Clayton and the zoning issues. And, we don't have the transportation, nor do we have the businesses that support this high density. So we have to look at not in the center of town, but in other places in Clayton. So the high density housing is an issue that needs to be addressed, and placement of it, because everybody deserves a place to live.
Thank you.
Yep.
How would you describe your personal level of tolerance for those views which you may disagree with? And how do you approach those types of matters and form any decision that needs to be made?
I'm very tolerant of people, and I like to listen to what everybody says, but I have noticed there are certain people, and in your case, Mr. Juan, I have noticed that there is a certain resident who just has gone at you in a bullying behavior, and I don't think that is correct. And I haven't said a word, but I look at both sides, and you just have to form an objective view. You got to look at one person's side, another person's side, and then the truth lies in the middle. So you have to be able to decipher where each person stands and make a critical, analytical opinion from there. Because I work in healthcare, and you can get somebody coming in screaming and yelling at you, you're this, you're that. I've been a nurse for over 25 years, and I've been called every name in the book just because I'm this, because I'm white, or I'm a woman, or I'm this. And you just have to be patient, and you have to say, okay, how are they feeling? What is their process? What is their disease process? Where are they coming from? Who do you think they are? And you just take that all in. What is their culture? And you have to relate all that, and then just handle the situation in that manner.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Diaz.
Thank you. You sort of touched a little bit on this part of my question here as it relates to the shortage of housing in the state of California, and with the California legislature trying to run things from Sacramento and provide legislation that will guide us, the local city, into somehow fixing that problem. But what I'd like to hear from you is that one of the things that you have to address as a planning commissioner when issues come before you. And by the way, I'm very impressed. The diversity of your education is fascinating in my opinion. Not only did you do criminal justice, but now you're into health and so forth. But how would you bring all that together for establishing some public policy for issues that come before you? And what is the role of that planning commissioner's job to do to address those matters at the planning commissioner level?
The role of the planning commissioner is to understand the laws, the rules, the regulations, and, you know, being in healthcare and even in criminal justice and my history in banking, everything follows rules, regulations, and laws. So it's the same with the planning commission. You have to follow what is already set in place with state, federal, and local rules and regulations and the laws. So you need to follow that. But however, you also have to look at your community and what is going on in community, what is good for your community, how is the growth going to continue in your community. You have to look for the future. You have to look what may be problematic going down the road. So when you look at those bylaws, or not bylaws, but when you look at those mandates that are coming down, you have to say, okay, how is this going to affect the community? How is it going to affect us now? How will it affect us in the future? Is it going to be detrimental? If it's going to be detrimental, is this something that we can mitigate or not mitigate? I know personally, working in healthcare, that I belong to the American Nurses Association, and I belong to the policy section of it, where we go to Sacramento and we fight different policies constantly. And even the housing policy is one that we fight, because in healthcare, you don't want people packed in on top of each other. And this pandemic is one of those situations where people being packed in just sought to spread the virus. So packing in people like cattle is not the answer. There's different ways to house people, and I don't think putting them in like sardines is an answer. But again, we have to follow the ordinances and the rules and the regulations and policies. But there are ways to mitigate things, and we have to look at that.
Thank you for that very thoughtful and thorough answer.
Thank you.
Lee.
Hi, Tony.
Hi.
Sorry, Maria.
No, you can call me Tony. That's fine.
I kept throwing everybody off when I kept saying that. Sorry. Okay, so to get us back on track, same question, I'll make it succinct, is as a planning commissioner, you're going to have meetings every other Tuesday. And it's going to take about approximately 10 to 20 hours per month. It's a big packet to read and digest. And given those time commitments, in addition to that, would you be able to commit to participating in additional meetings if needed?
Not a problem. My personal life has calmed down extremely. So it's not an issue at this point. That's why I decided to put my hat in the ring.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Tony, for coming. Maria, thanks so much for coming in. And do you have any questions for us?
No, other than, I'm very excited about the opportunity. And if I'm chosen, I will be thrilled to serve the community of Clayton. I absolutely love this community and the people in it. And it's been absolutely heartbreaking, all of the divisiveness that's going on within Clayton. It's been absolutely heartbreaking. And, you know, if I could do something that will help, I really want to do something that will help. I'm hoping that something within my education or experience in the background could help people here, because I really hate all the infighting that's going on.
Well, we appreciate you coming in and stepping up, and thank you very much.
Thank you. It's been my pleasure and privilege to speak to each one of you. Thank you.
Thank you. All
Have a
right.
good evening.
You too. Enjoy.
Thanks.
Stay
Bye.
cool out there. All right. And now we have Edward Miller III coming up. I think we all know a bit about Ed already, but
I do not see Ed in the attendee list quite yet, so I will move him up to a panelist as soon as I see him come in the room. So
we're basically on time now, so
yes, so he should be logged on any moment, as he confirmed for 6:45. So please hold.
talk amongst yourselves.
Did you say he confirmed for 6:45?
No.
I thought that's what she just
I
said.
said that, but I meant 6:30.
Oh,
6:30, yeah.
okay.
And it's probably sitting there going, no.
Okay.
Jim, you probably already know this, Jim.
There he is. There he is.
Can't
I
see
got
him
it.
at all.
Here comes Mr. Miller.
Here comes Mr. Miller. Sounds like a TV show. There are the Millers. We are the Millers. That was a movie, right? There we go. Waiting for you to unmute, Ed, and then we'll get going. Still on mute?
Oh, yes. I was just saying I'm coming to you from beautiful downtown Roswell, New Mexico. Not sure if you could see the aliens behind me, but...
The aliens are driving a Dodge?
There you go.
The aliens drive a Dodge.
Yeah,
So,
they like late models. They like
hi,
late
Ed.
models.
Welcome back to the interview of Planning Commissioner, and welcome. And we're going to get started really quickly here. We got about 15 minutes. So why do you want to continue on the Planning Commission? And tell us about your experience there and what specific skills you bring to the Planning Commission.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. I appreciate your introduction. So I have been serving, as you know, for the last 3.5 months in the capacity of Planning Commission. And all the skills that I've brought,
I think the aliens have taken over. Aliens have taken over.
Audio.
You're frozen and you sound like Cher. I think we lost Ed.
That might lead to a good record contract. Can you see me?
You're frozen right now. You're frozen right now, but we can hear you. Yep, there you go. We're kind of blipping around.
Can you hear me now, Mr. Mayor?
Yes, right now we can. Yes.
Okay, let me cease my video in the hope that will assist in the audio. All right. So just wanted to say, in the 3.5 months that I've been able to serve, I feel like the most important skill that I have brought to the table has been listening and responding in a calm and logical manner to the issues that have been brought before us, which, as you know, a couple of the projects that have been brought before us have been emotional issues for many people in the community who are passionate about that. The Clayton Community Church, and the extension of one of our permits or extension of one of our, the extension of the permission to build on a certain site. So I feel like in both of those meetings, I demonstrated that I am capable of listening to the concerns of our constituents and attempting to make sure that there are things put in place to make sure that their concerns are addressed or mitigated or discovered to be possibly not an issue at all. So listening would be the top skill. And Mr. Mayor, I'll just add to that that during that time, I've also been watching hours and hours of the conference that we were allowed to go to for the planning commissioners for the state. So I am learning, even to this point, more and more about the duties and abilities of the role. So that is, I guess, my answer to that question.
Thank you. Peter?
Ed, that's actually more training than I actually got as a planning commissioner. I appreciate your taking the time to do that. So thank you. I wanted to ask you what you think the most important issues are that are facing the Clayton currently. And then again, what is your vision for Clayton itself?
Yeah, absolutely. So Peter, I mean, I think that every person probably who is sitting through these interviews is going to say the same thing about the most important issue facing us is the next year, really, and possibly the next 2 years will be pivotal because we're going through the RENA cycle, and choices that are made during this time will echo years and years later. Again, the previous members of the Planning Commission had to upzone things to accommodate the RENA before, and now the Olivia project. That sort of echo doesn't come for 7 years, 8 years, 9 years down the line. So I do feel like it's critical that we get the RENA stuff sorted out. And as far as my visions, I mean, there certainly are already site-specific and general plans that kind of lay out parameters for those things. But what I would like to do in an attempt to preserve the character of the city, as people like to say, is look for opportunities to take existing properties and make them look like they are capable of, taking on additional housing units. So that might be ADUs here or there. That might be taking something like the property that currently houses the subway, and I don't think there's any other commercial property in there. I don't know. Is there a way to make the top floor of that residential? Things? So these things don't change the footprint of the city. I will say that if we end up stuck with some sort of state law that says that they can stick twice as many homes than we've zoned for, then I'd sure like to somehow figure out a way to make the legal stand that then we're already zoned for twice as much as the state, or twice as much as our current zoning permits allow, or something along those lines. So we've got to get this right. We've got to discuss amongst us as commissioners and city council members what we can do. Some of these are blow-by-blows that are being dealt to us in real time in the state capitol. So I won't say this is my plan, but what I am saying is that I've got my eyes open. I've got my mind open to considering possibilities that will allow us to take advantage of what we already have in town. And beyond that, if we have to look at opening up additional parcels or something down in the Marsh Creek, I don't know, right? We'll have to look at these things as they come, but I hope we can minimize the impact while maximizing the opportunity for additional people to call themselves Claytonians in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you. Jeff?
And earlier this year, you posted online derogatory comments towards my wife. They were inappropriate, offensive, and misogynistic. I will not be supporting you, and I have no questions for you.
Jim?
Okay. Am I permitted to respond to that briefly? Like
I don't
super
think
briefly?
I don't think that was a question.
It's a question. All right. That's fine. That's fine.
Jim?
Am I ready?
Jim? Yeah, anytime.
Okay. The housing issue is one that's very, very complex. And in fact, the state believes that there is a significant shortage of housing units throughout California. And as such, the legislature has passed a number of laws aimed at mandating local communities plan for and accept a variety of housing types that go beyond the single family dwelling. What are your thoughts about public policy regarding that? And how do you view that in terms of being a planning commissioner for the city of Clayton?
Interestingly enough, I disagree with the state. I don't think that the state has they don't have a housing problem per se. They have a job density problem, which is to say that the state refuses to come in and force employers to build out their additional commercial building outside of Santa Clara and San Francisco. If the state would get their heads sort of together and say, we need to stop, we need to basically, instead of forcing zoning of housing into the East Bay and the North Bay, maybe we should use that same state power to cease any additional commercial development in Santa Clara and San Francisco, since there is no housing for people nearby those. If the state forced those employers to build more out toward Brentwood, Stockton, up north toward Napa, et cetera, we wouldn't have all this cram on housing. There would be an extension. Now, we're not policy setters, unfortunately, at that level as planning commissioners in a lowly municipal planning commission. So within that, I believe our job is to simply use the, as I said, interpretation of law to the maximum degree to, maximize our compliance with RENA so we don't get sued by all these YIMBY groups and stuff. But at the same time, match those, but not impact the character of town to the extent that it is possible. There are places where they run over us with a roller, with they run over us with heavy equipment legally, but every chance that we have to interpret the law safely in a way that allows us to maintain where we are is what we should do.
Okay, Jim, you good? You okay, Jim?
Yeah, I got it. Thank you.
Okay, good. And
Those
Holly?
gremlins keep shutting my microphone off.
I know you're kind of blipping around and shutting off. And anyway, Holly, you can wrap it up.
Thank you. Yes. Hi, Ed. You've been now in the seat for 3.5 months, so you're well aware of what the time commitment is, et cetera. Are you still committed to continuing that? And if you are tasked with attending additional meetings, are you up to doing that?
Absolutely, Holly. And I think, no, I'm still here, I promise. And thank you very much. No, I agree with you. I mean, well, not I agree with you. You posed a question. Am I able to continue with that commitment? Absolutely. And I think more importantly, the commitment is going to go beyond what it currently is, because clearly planning during the RENA cycle is not the same as off cycle. So am I willing to make the time to do the right thing for this town? Absolutely. I plan to pour my full energy into it because, as I said earlier in the call, I do believe that decisions made today will echo for almost a decade. And so if we don't get it right in the next 12 months, then what we're going to do is we're going to have conflict and decision among us in the years to come. So yeah, I'll make time to avoid that. Absolutely.
Great, thank you.
All right, you can go back to the aliens now, unless you have a question for us.
No, absolutely not. I appreciate the time you've given me to represent my point. I guess the only statement that I would make is just that I've been very happy in this position, and I think I've been able to do the right thing, based on the facts before me and so forth. I am in no way attached by ego to this job, and so if the best thing for Clayton is for someone else to sit in the seat, then I want the best thing for Clayton. But if your decision is to have me sit in this seat, then my only request of this group is please choose a person. I know you're choosing two names from the hat tonight. Please choose someone else who can work as agreeably, but also as firmly as possible from their standpoint of logic and understanding. Just choose someone that can work well with this. All right. Thank you all so much for this.
All right. Thank you very much, Ed. Okay. And that wraps up our interview session. And now we're going to move on to our discussion and determination of the two citizens that you want to fill this post. Obviously, Jeff has had some strong opinions. I don't know if Jeff, if you're still there, I think he is. If you want to jump in and start off the conversation, or anybody want to take it?
I think I said what I wanted to say.
You don't want to elaborate on what happened there?
No.
Okay. Anybody else?
I kind of think that we should, though, honestly, if we're going to have a real conversation about this, because given what has transpired a lot in the last few months, we could only seat one person if we were going to base it off of that. So I think we have to talk about this because we've had two of the candidates who have, I don't know the comment that you're talking about, but clearly it's personal to you and you voice that. But there's been a lot said from a lot of people about a lot of people, and what's happening right now on the Planning Commission, it's making it difficult for us to actually function as a city. So we have to take all of that into consideration and fix it. I think that all of the comments that are happening with people being extremely verbal and confrontational online is really hurting us as a city. So there's 5 seats. Right now, you already have a Planning Commission that doesn't get along. We're going to have to address that at a different meeting because we can't do that in the next 10 minutes. But in seating these next people who are going to be in this next 2 years, we really do have to think about the entire body who hasn't really been that vocal. Justin hasn't, right? So he would have my vote if we're just going to put it out there right there. Ed has proven that he can do it. But if Ed has done something that has disparaged your wife and you don't want to vote for him, you're one vote. But then we also have to talk about what Maria has done as well as her husband, right? So you've got that whole element that comes into it. So if we're going to have a real discussion about it, I think we have to be honest and have a real one. So
I think it would be inappropriate to judge a spouse by someone by their spouse.
No.
So I think that's not on the table.
I don't
engage in that.
I don't disagree with you, but Maria has made her own comments.
Then
herself.
I don't think her spouse has anything to do with it, but that's what you raised.
Then I'll take that back and I'll just focus on her. She herself has made her own comments about people on the Planning Commission, right? So throwing that into the fire pit, I think is just a bad combination when we're trying to quell things down and we need to.
If you find anyone's behavior or action to be unacceptable, then don't support them. That's fine. We don't need to have 5 commissioners.
Okay, there we go.
I'd like to jump in and by the way, I have no clue on what anybody's talking about with Maria and her husband. And I'm very impressed with the breadth of her experience and education. And just on that alone, if there's things out there, what are they? And I mean, they haven't come to me, but I'm telling you, looking at paper here, I agree with Holly on Justin. And I also agree that Maria is worth a try as well. I think that anybody that, I mean, you look at that, the educational background that she has, and that perspective, not only from the criminal justice, but as a registered nurse, and she says that she's going to be going for a doctorate. Well, that's going to be a challenge right there. Anybody that's tried advanced education, it is very, very demanding. And but I think that those two, in my view, I think Justin would do an excellent job as a planning commissioner. I think he was very open about, making sure that all things get considered, especially when this raft of legislation comes down from Sacramento trying to help us, develop our cities and guide them. I thought that Maria was particularly respectful of the diverse backgrounds and that are brought to bear as not only a planning commissioner but just as a citizen representing Clayton. She has some rather strong thoughts about high density and could help maybe us formulate a position that will manage that. She has an objective view on things, at least from what she's come to me. I'm, again, unaware of any of this backroom drama that's going on, but I would be willing to provide her the opportunity, as well as Justin, for those two vacancies and for appointment seats on the Planning Commission. Thank you.
So the question I would have then, first of all, you're not on social media, so I can understand why you don't see any of the stuff going on any side. But what is it about Ed that you feel that he is not doing well as a current planning commissioner?
I don't have any comment about Ed. I try to stay objective on all of this information flow that all of a sudden has gotten opened up, and even Holly's admitted it, that there has been certainly some comments and positions that have been addressed, and I only get these in hand because, quite frankly, I don't want to get embroiled in them. They tend to distract from the good that we need to complete here in Clayton. And if there is some concern on Ed's position, I don't know what that is. But again, I'm saying I would be open to having two new sets of eyes to take a look at and helping us on the future. Peter, anything?
Yeah, absolutely. So as a former planning commissioner and a former chair of the planning commission, I've it's been a challenge for me to ditch my planning commissioner hat and put on a city council person hat. So the last planning commission meeting was the first meeting I did not attend virtually at the suggestion of the city manager and our city council. So I'm listening. It's been a challenge, but for the ones I did watch in the past few months, I have seen the way Ed comports himself as a planning commissioner and his attention to detail and the questions he listens to and how he responds. He is clearly his own person. I'm never quite sure how he's going to vote by the question he's asking. And so that independent mind is something that I appreciate. Jeff, I'm sorry, I'm not aware of the question. The statement, I acknowledge that it impacted you. I'm just looking at his performance as a planning commissioner, and I appreciated the neutralness of his place in his position and how he comports himself. So that's my take and my defense of Ed as a candidate. And I would highly suggest he continues based on not only the training he had, but also his background coming from RTC prior to that. He's got experience where he's pretty grounded in what's going on regionally. And I think that will help us in the conversations coming up in the future with regard to the housing element and the reader numbers.
Where do you come down on the second candidate? Did I miss that?
I haven't. I mean, I know Maria. She comes and has a fruit from our trees, and I know both she and Larry, but I also know Justin as well. I mean, I've been as the liaison to the Trails and Landscape Committee. Justin stepped up to be the chair of that committee. And I watched him do that when nobody else did, and step into that position well. So I already know that with his analytical background and his volunteerism already in the city in that position and his interest, that I'm tending to lean towards Justin based on just his experience and where he's been.
Okay, well, we're running up against it, so let's take a look at the votes. Obviously. Jeff,
I would make a motion that we nominate Justin to the Planning Commission for this term.
Before you do, you may wish to see if there's public comment since it is an agendized item. So usually I don't see any hands at the moment, but I just want to make sure that there's an opportunity if there are any.
Any public comment?
Mayor Wolf, I have one hand raised.
Okay.
And Roy, as I promote you to panelist, if you can please unmute your microphone, you'll have 3 minutes to speak.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Roy, go ahead. Welcome.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, this is just public comment on the discussion here about the candidates.
Yes.
Okay. Summary simply is that if, based on what I heard of the 3 candidates, I would say that the lady, I forget her name now, but anyway, her,
Maria.
Maria, and the other gentleman, Justin, I think they're very qualified. I think they got the academics, and they have the working world, and some are still even pursuing academics. So that's excellent. And on our end, and do that kind of work. So there's a lot of rigor among them. So I'm very, and with respect to Ed Miller, my view on Ed Miller is that I'll be honest, I would not vote for him. And I viewed the PC meeting a couple of weeks ago, the replay, and which was a church decision. And if you hear the discussion there, and in particular Ed Miller, among others, right? It was like fait accompli, that whole session. I think the staff did a lot of good work on the front end in terms of, coming up with data to support, to just present it regarding the church issue and a request. But if my reaction to that was that the entire PC group was already if you look at the time, even if you were to look at how much time was spent by the committee, by the PC group versus the actual neighbors who were adjacent to that church, who have to live next to that church in terms of safety, in terms of congestion and those kind of things. One of the arguments that Ed Miller mentioned, and certainly if I had a church next door to me and said, well, you know what, there's a driveway, egress and ingress, blah, blah, blah. But you know what, based on that, the way it's designed, it's actually going to make it easier for those residents to come and go. One. And I said, really? Seriously? And then the other part of that, property value. Okay, what's that going to do to property value? There was a lady there who'd been here for over 100 years, so if you look at on balance, the discussion spent by the council itself, which in my mind was fait accompli, and you look at the discussion provided by I'll just call it the opposition, the good neighbors, was out of balance, out of whack, and I didn't hear data. I didn't hear that data, and my hunch is there is a lot of supporting data that would look at that whole project with different eyes. So Ed Miller, in this case, being straight out, not in the best interest of Clayton, number one. And number two, the other candidates definitely have the academics, the professional work, etc., and can be clinical about this job.
Thank you, Roy.
You're welcome.
Anyone else, Janet?
Mayor Wolf, I do not have any other hands raised on this item. Oh, one hand just went up. Jonathan. Jonathan, as I promote you to panelist, if you can please unmute your microphone, you'll have up to 3 minutes to speak.
And remember, we're talking about the Planning Commission now. Jonathan? You're on mute.
Okay, I'm on mute. Can you hear me now? All right, apologies about that. I was talking to myself. But I actually just want to speak about one candidate because I do have an encounter with her. She presented herself as a fair person that's not quick to judgment, and that is just not true. Not too long ago, I posted a post on Clayton kindness. And she jumped on and she already concluded and she blamed me, right, for the harassment that I was receiving from my racist neighbor and their son-in-law. And I thought that was uncalled for, and I called her out on it. And I said, that's not very kind of you to do in this site. So if you listen to her carefully, if you listen to her carefully, I think you can all conclude that she's not going to follow any kind of policy in state law or city ordinances. And that's just going to cost the city a big loss of money when you have to lawyer up. But my bigger issue is just the lack of character. And my experience with her is that she was very judgmental without getting the full story, never emailing me, never attempting to contact me to get my side of the story. And yet she judged me and she blamed me for the harassment that I received. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jonathan. And now Janet.
Mayor Wolf, I do not have any other hands raised on this item.
And we will close the public comment. Let's bring this back. Do we need a motion for these things, or we just vote on?
I would move that we nominate Justin Cesarian to the Planning Commission for.
I'll second that.
Did you second it?
I did.
Okay, thank you.
Things along a little bit. Okay, and do we have a second nomination?
Well, there's a motion
we
on
have
the
to
floor.
vote. We vote on that one first?
Yes.
Okay, so let's vote on that.
I thought we had to make a substitute motion first and then discuss the substitute motion first.
If there is a substitute motion,
I would like to make a substitute motion.
Okay.
I would like to move that we nominate Ed Miller and Justin Cesarian to the Planning Commission.
Do we have a second on that?
I will second that motion.
Okay. All right, so we have a substitute motion. So now we vote on the first one first, or do we vote on the second one?
You vote on the second one.
Okay, vote on the second one. Okay, so Janet, if you will call the vote, please.
Sure. Councilmember Diaz?
No.
Councilmember Tillman?
Yes.
Councilmember Juan?
No.
Vice Mayor Cloven?
Yes.
Mayor Wolf?
Yes. Okay, so we have our two planning commissioners now, and we will take a short recess and come back in about 5 minutes or so. Let's say 10 after 7. Is that all right? 10 after 7? Okay, so 10 after 7, we'll come back and start our regular public meeting. Okay, so this part is recessed. So it is 10 after 7, and we are going to reconvene and call to order the City Council meeting here in Clayton, June 15th, 2021, State Reopening Day. Yay! Anyway, hope you're all staying cool out there. It's going to be very hot the next few days, so a lot of hydration. All right, so we're going to get the roll call going here. So Janet, I think Jeff is there. I see his name. So
Councilmember Diaz?
Present.
Councilmember Tillman?
Here.
Councilmember Juan?
Here.
Vice Mayor Cloven?
I'm here.
Mayor Wolf?
I'm here too, and we're all here. We are here. We are here. Okay, so now we're going to go to our video. Janet, it's all yours.
Due to COVID-19, this meeting will be conducted as a Zoom webinar pursuant to the provisions of the Governor's Executive Order N2920, which suspends certain requirements of the Brown Act. This meeting is being webcast on the City of Clayton's website. The mayor will call upon its council, presenters, staff, and other speakers by name and ask that they speak clearly and state their name before giving comments or remarks. Persons participating via webcast and Zoom with their cameras enabled are reminded that their activities are visible to viewers. Members of the public participating by Zoom wishing to speak should use the raise hand feature or dial *9 and the mayor will call upon them at the appropriate time. Telephone attendees will be called upon by the last 4 digits of their phone number. It is requested that public speakers state their name, but providing such information is voluntary. Written public comments received by Clayton City Clerk by 5 p.m. today will be entered into the record, but will not be read out loud. If authors of the written correspondence would like to speak, they are free to do so and should raise their hand, and the mayor will call upon them at the appropriate time. A roll call vote will be taken for all action items. The chat feature is not active. In order to get the full Zoom experience, please make sure your application is up to date.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Voiceover. Okay, and now we're going to have Councilmember Diaz lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Councilmember Diaz. We're going to go now to item number 6, the consent calendar. Anyone have anything they want to pull? All right, how about public? Does any member of the public want to speak to the consent calendar? Janet?
Mayor Wolf, I do not have any hands raised on this item.
Okay, and we'll close that and bring it back to the council for a motion.
So move to accept the consent calendar.
First by Cloven. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, second by Tillman. And Janet, please call the vote.
Councilmember Diaz,
Yes.
Councilmember Tillman,
Yes.
Councilmember Juan,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Cloven,
Aye.
Mayor Wolf.
Yes. All right, let's see. Moving on now to recognitions and presentations. We have one proclamation today declaring June 19th as Juneteenth in the city of Clayton. And I'll read that now. Whereas President Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation on January 1st, 1863, declaring slaves in Confederate territory free, paving the way for the passing of the 13th Amendment, which formally abolished slavery in the United States of America. And whereas word about the signing of the Emancipation Proclamation was delayed some 2.5 years to June 19th, 1865, in reaching authorities and African Americans in the South and Southwestern United States. And whereas Emancipation Day observations are held on different days in different states throughout the South and Southwest and other parts of the nation. And whereas June 19th has a special meaning to African Americans and is called Juneteenth, combining the words June and 19th, and has been celebrated by the African American community for over 150 years. Now, therefore, I, Carl Wolf, Mayor, and on behalf of the entire Clayton City Council, proclaim June 19th as Juneteenth in Clayton, California, and I call this observance to the attention of all of our citizens. Okay, and that wraps up the recognitions and presentations. We're going on to item number 8, which is our reports, starting with the city manager and staff.
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. I will be relatively brief, but also happy sort of reopening day as we move toward, I hate the phrase new normal, but we're going to find about 16 new normals before we figure out what that really means. The primary item that I just want to update the council on this evening, as you just heard, the topic of the RENA allocations and housing came up with our planning commission candidates, and it's certainly a major issue for us. We are in the part of the process where ABAG is accepting appeals for the preliminary RENA allocations. Those appeals are due to ABAG July 9th. In anticipation that the council may choose this evening in a later item to cancel the July 6th meeting, I am planning to bring to the council on June 29th the framework for major components of and a request for direction on whether or not the council wishes to have the city file an appeal on those RENA numbers. So I just wanted to let you know, because I know there's a tremendous amount of interest in that, that item will be on your agenda for June 29th. And so we will have a robust agenda that evening as well, but that will be one of the items that we will be discussing. So with that, I will turn it back to the mayor and the council. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Any questions for Raina? No, okay. Let's go on to our city council reports. How about we'll start with Holly today?
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I was not as busy, other than a lot of emails and phone calls this time. I'm going through my calendar now really quickly, and I had the mayor's conference at the beginning of the month, and I know that you'll be reporting on that. And then the Library Foundation had a meeting on Sunday, and they're going to be having a book sale. It's a little off schedule this time, but they wanted to, since they've been closed and people couldn't really come in last year, they want to have that, and that will be on, I'm pulling it up now. It should be on June 24th. Hold on a second. Saturday, July 24th, sorry. And there will be a raffle for a $20 gift certificate for future book sales that they'll have. They usually have those in October. So they're inviting everybody out. They'll have a variety of books that are available, a lot of nonfiction, children's books, and a little bit of nonfiction. Some fiction, and children's books. So that'll be on July 24th at the library. And as soon as we can find a flyer that they're putting together, I will share that around with everybody so that maybe we could put that somewhere on the website for them. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Jim?
Thank you. Very few things to report other than having a number of meetings with constituents and other individuals, but also with the city manager. And today I also met with the police chief and welcomed her back after being on vacation for about 2 weeks. The only thing I've got to report, and it's great news, everybody's been waiting for it. The concerts in the Grove will return to the city of Clayton beginning on Saturday, July 17, 6 p.m. The band will be Carnival, and they are really well known and a very outstanding group. And we look forward to that. And it appears, and I underline appears, no masks, no social distancing, and no verification of your vaccination card. I'm assuming that when I get the official tablets that Moses and the governor have chipped out, I will present those to you at the next council meeting. Also, didn't want to forget that, and it looks like we may have, since we have more proclamations than anything else, we probably forgot to include that Howard Geller is having a significant birthday on next Thursday, the 17th of June. And I think with him heralding back the concerts, we should not let that be forgotten. Thank you.
Thank you, council member. That's very good news. And Carnival's a fun band to start off the new season. That's fantastic. That's great. Okay. And Peter.
Thank you, Mayor. I had a TransPAC meeting on June 10th. And again, I really appreciate that group and how they think about regional transportation issues. And while we patched the budget again, and we looked at our work plan, and again, one of the the components of the work plan is looking at how transportation can be improved to affect some of the arena numbers that are being distributed across our whole county. And we're all keeping the eye on the ball. Like Jim and everybody else, I listened and talked to a lot of constituents here in Clayton about a myriad of issues. But I think the most fun thing I did as a proud Clayton Valley Charter High School parent is I watched the Ugly Eagles graduate in an open forum at the Clayton Pavilion, and I chaperoned the senior ball, and it was like real high school, like it was supposed to be. And for those kids who've missed their senior year and most of their junior year before they go off to college, it was kind of nice to see them actually enjoy high school as they leave. So I was proud parent and proud to watch that happen. End of report, Mayor.
Congratulations. That's fantastic. All right. I'm sorry, Jeff. I almost forgot. Councilmember One.
I have no report.
Okay. All right. So my report, I was honored to attend the last day of school, virtually anyway, for Mount Diablo Elementary third grade. Ms. Ill's class invited me to attend the last day, also to re-celebrate Summer Contreras, who was one of our Do the Right Thing recipients the day before. So that was very nice to be with them, and they're very excited to move on to the fourth grade. I also attended the mayor's conference where we talked a lot about drought management. We had speakers from the East Bay Mud and Contra Costa Water District talking about the zero snowpack being the second worst, driest year. Very dangerous storage levels, the 90% exceedance is expected. And therefore, bottom line, conserve, 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 be very smart with your water. I'm sure there's going to be some legislation coming down very shortly. And we're going to just have to be very careful. Took care of my newspaper articles, met with Raina several times, our city manager. I met with Vice Mayor Cloven. Took emails and calls as usual. A couple of things. First of all, I unfortunately had to give interviews to television and radio and paper regarding the theft of the pride flag downtown. Very unfortunate thing. And I think the worst black eye for us was that it made it to the USA Today, which in a small town like Clayton, that's pretty significant. But nevertheless, I was able to talk to some reporters about that. Let's see, what else? I've been asked by several residents out there over the last week to please remind people that fireworks are illegal in Contra Costa County. And it's very important to please take care of your neighbors in your community. This is a very high fire season. And not only that, the noise and the damage you can cause, very dangerous. So please, no personal fireworks this year. And Concord is holding their fireworks display in over at the pavilion. So you might want to check that out for the 4th of July. I sat in on the Livable California once again with regard to SB 9. SB 9 and SB 10, they're moving their way through the assembly, basically unchecked. Where I have a call into on next Monday with Assembly Member Grayson to once again lobby our case with regard to this being disagreeable to SB 9 and certainly SB 10 when it gets through there on June 22nd, which is Tuesday at 1:30. SB 9 and SB 10 will be heard by the Assembly Housing Committee. And I may come back to you and ask the citizens to please start writing some letters, but let me talk with Assembly Member Grayson next week, and I will report back to you on that. And finally, we got a press release today from the CBCA, just reiterating, aside from what Jim said, which is a city event, or not a CBCA event, which is the concerts in the Grove restarting. The CBCA is not going to be holding any summer festivals this year. They are still considering and still on the fence with regard to Christmas time. That will be reported later. And just once again, to reiterate, there is no 4th of July parade in the city of Clayton. So that looks to be my report for this go round. Okay. All right. And now we're going to go to item number 9, which is public comment on non-agenda items. You'll have up to 3 minutes to speak on items that are not on the agenda. And we'd love to hear you. So Janet, if you will, let us know who is in the queue.
Mayor Wolf, I don't have any hands raised on this item.
Wow. Okay. All right.
One just went up.
There we go. I talked too quickly, I think. That's the problem.
So
right.
Christine, as I promote you to panelist, please unmute your microphone and you'll have up to 3 minutes to speak.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, Christine, welcome.
Thank you. I just want to say I'm so excited about the concerts in the park starting up. That is awesome news. But what I want to discuss tonight is a Zoom meeting. I just feel it's very disrespectful that Jim Diaz seems to be texting on his phone and Jeff Wan comes in and out when he wants to. If this was a meeting at Town Hall, City Hall, he would not be able to do that. And I think it's a show of immaturity. I am a director of a before and after school program in Walnut Creek. And in August, we became a site for distance learning program. I had 55 children from 4 years, 9 months up to 5th grade, Zooming in the building with my teachers facilitating. They had their teachers at school, but my teachers helped just keep them on track and guide them. I think we did have one 3rd grader who got mad at his teacher and turned off his camera. But other than that, even at 4 years, 9 months, they were attentive, they were on track, and they were very respectful as far as Zoom is concerned. And I just want to say, Jeff, I just think it's really disrespectful that you feel you can pull out of a meeting anytime you want because your feelings get hurt or whatever the issue is. So that's it. I've been watching this. I want to say that I do enjoy the Zoom meetings. I love being a part of the council. I know I probably wouldn't be in person, but I've felt like more up on topics and such since it's a Zoom format. So I hope this continues, but that's it. That's my 2 cents.
Thank you, Christine. Janet, do we have anybody else that have raised their hand?
Mayor Wolf, I do not have any other hands raised on this item.
Okay, then we will close the public comment.
One hand just went up.
We'll back
All
that
right,
up.
so Roy, as I promote you to panelist, if you can please unmute your microphone, you'll have up to 3 minutes to speak.
Welcome back, Roy. You're on mute right now.
Okay.
There you go.
Oh, good. Okay. Yeah, I got the 3 quick hits here. So one item is, Mr. Mayor, what I'd like to see, we have the Pioneer article, the Pioneer newspaper that comes out periodically here. I think it's every 2 weeks. And they have a mayor's column. And what I'd like to see is for you, right? I want to know you. I really don't know you, to be honest, okay? And I don't know your vision for Clayton. I don't know, vision progress. I don't know some of the issues. I don't know the financial health, but I need to hear about those things from you directly. And I think you've got a good opportunity using the Pioneer and not, relegating that to other guest writers, right? I think it's good to have a guest writer, but it's about you. So if you're going forward, if you can do that, right? Because I want to hear about you and what keeps you up at night about Clayton. There's a lot of things going on here, both, organizationally, from a team working perspective, which is not good. Okay, it's evident, and I'll stop there. But write the column. I want to hear about you. Write it. Okay. Anyway, that's some feedback, right? Second item, okay, is that I already talked about this a little bit, the church situation. All right. It was, in my mind, it's fait accompli. Look at the video in which that decision was made. And I would just add one thing to what I said previously. I won't repeat myself, but I would say, Raina, if you could, I don't know, I know you have oversight, but I think there was an element there that would have said, in my mind anyway, hey, you know what, we need to back up here and get some balance here. We need to get some more, Clayton resident feedback. It wasn't there. There wasn't enough. And I'm certain, my hunch is there was plenty. I'll stop there. I mentioned some other things already. All right. So the third item is really a quick hit. There's been a lot of talk of back and forth for like months, if not years, of talking about the landscape in Clayton downtown. If you go take a walk in downtown, the landscape, it needs some work. It needs effort, right? And then trees, right? There you can connect with the university locally, Cal, Hayward State, well not Hayward, but East Bay, whatever, and bring in undergraduates, graduate students who are studying, horticulture, etc., and pick out some trees that fit. What's the one that's being used all the time here? It's a kind of a default tree is anyway, there's a default tree that Clayton falls into, and it's not the best tree. And the last item I would say is that on the status reports, make those reports economic, make them simple. Okay. It's like, what am I working on? What progress am I, achieving toward that effort that I'm working on? What are some issues, concerns you're hearing from the voters community? And what are my action steps about them? If you can boil it down, have some good information that people can connect to. I really don't, from my perspective, I think others don't want to hear about all these kind of extraneous things that are really not connected to a deliverable, right? What are you going to do? How are you making the city better? How are you making it, more team and more, you need more of a camaraderie among the group. And it's absent. And I say that objectively. And I think others feel like myself, maybe not, but I'm telling you what I see and I view and observe. Thank you,
Roy. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. And appreciate the advice and insight. Okay. Anybody else? Janet?
Mayor Wolf, I do not have any other hands raised on this item.
Okay, we're going to close it. All right, we close public comment now and move on. Thank you all for joining in. Let's see, we're moving on to public hearings, which we have none. Action items now, item 11A. City Council discussion on canceling any regularly scheduled council meetings July, August, and/or September 2021 related to quorum availability. City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. Historically, the council has had a conversation around this time of year regarding potential quorum issues or a desire to cancel any of the summer meetings where there might be an opening for some downtime for the council. And so you have in your packet a calendar showing the meetings and some discussion about where we have some items that are scheduled that we will want to make sure that we do have a council meeting. My preliminary recommendation is that if you want to consider canceling a couple of meetings, that you consider the meetings that would happen the week of the July 4th holiday and the week of the Labor Day holiday. So that would be July 6th and September 7th. Those can be difficult weeks coming off of a Monday holiday. And right now those look to be meetings where we don't have anything that urgently needs to be on those agendas at this point. I do also know that our city attorney is not available on July 6th. So that's just something else to consider. And then before I turn it over to the council for discussion of specific meetings to consider canceling, I also wanted to address the issue of where those meetings might be in terms of the reopening of California, et cetera. So we are in a bit of an unusual period now between now and the end of September, and that we have some choice as to how we want to conduct our meetings. We are no longer precluded from having in-person meetings, but we still have the authority under the governor's executive orders through September 30th to have our meetings via this Zoom format. One of the things that we have seen with the Zoom format is that we tend to get a significantly larger number of people tuning in, participating in these meetings, and many communities have found the same thing. We are working on putting together a proposal for the equipment and bandwidth improvements that we would need to have a hybrid meeting where the council and staff and public who wanted to could be in the room, as well as allowing for some Zoom participation. That equipment work, et cetera, probably won't be done for sure before September 30th, and not clear exactly when after that, but hopefully not too long after that. And so jurisdictions around the county, as you can see from some of the notes, are looking at bringing back meetings anywhere from now till about the time that the governor's orders are expected to be lifted and we are required to go back into in-person meetings. And so the council may wish to also have conversation about the summer meetings as to where those meetings will take place. My recommendation based on participation alone would be that we consider holding this Zoom format through September, and that we go back to in-person meetings with the first meeting in October, and then we would have the best opportunity to have that hybrid format available to us as well. And with that, I would turn it over to the council for deliberation and direction to staff on dates and locations. Thank you.
Okay, so I don't know what your schedules are like. Yes, Jim, you're waving.
Yeah, I'm okay with July 6th and September 7th. Those are reasonable because they back up to some standard holidays.
Okay, anybody else? I just want to bring up for myself, I may have a conflict on September 21st. That's still up in the air. That's not asking you to cancel the meeting, but I just want to put that out there that I may have to have a trip scheduled for that time. But nevertheless, anybody else want to talk about?
I concur with Jim.
Yeah, and the only, it looks like July 20th is the only thing right now that's some pressing.
The other comment I had was regarding the equipment necessary for hybrid. Will that be brought back before we execute a purchase? Because it's unclear from the staff report what the cost of that will be.
Absolutely, that will be brought back, and in fact, will likely be a conversation that occurs as well, either with one-time reserve funds or American Rescue Plan funds.
Okay.
We don't even have a ballpark on that yet, 25 Gs or whatever it's going to be.
The equipment itself is probably 25-ish, but it will depend in part on what the broadband work is that we need done, the timing on that, and what the cost of that will be. The actual sort of computers and sound equipment, microphones, et cetera, is expensive, but not excessive.
But once we buy it, we own it. Is that correct?
That would be the case, yes.
So there's no return if we decide to move away from that format.
I'm sure there's some secondary market for that kind of equipment for other jurisdictions as everybody changes their mind about how they're going to handle their meetings. But yes, typically once we buy it, we would own it.
What we're hearing from the mayor's conferences, as you know, Jim, you've been there, they're talking about still holding Zoom meetings as long as they possibly can. And when they don't, we actually have the first mayor's conference. We'll be here in Clayton, which is exciting. But they were talking about October probably going back as well. So we shall see.
Do we typically take just 2 meetings off? What has been tradition? I don't know.
Yeah, last year, and correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but I don't think we took anything last year. The year before, we took 1 or 2.
Last year, we had to scramble to get the budget.
Yeah, We took 3 the year before that. Is that what you said, Raina?
I believe that it's been often as much as 1 a month for each of those summer months. But, last year, as Councilmember Juan said, there were no meetings that were canceled. And in fact, you had a bunch of extra meetings.
Yeah. So 2 sounds good to me. I mean, if you guys are okay with it.
I've already chimed in. I'm good with the 2.
6th and the 7th, the 6th of July and the 7th of September. Peter, Holly?
I think that's fine. I think the only other question I would ask is if one was, skipped, did you move it someplace else or you just didn't have a meeting? You just had one meeting that month?
We are having that special meeting on the 29th of June, which kind of supplants the 6th of July.
Yeah.
But no, unless something came up. If something comes up, I suppose we could reconvene in some way.
So if
there's a pretty good chance that I'm probably going to be out on August 3rd as well. So we'll see how that goes.
And again, I might be out on September 21st. So that's still up in the air.
If there's nothing really to agendize, would we cancel a meeting like August 3rd?
Well, that's what we're talking about now.
If at the point we got closer to it, there were nothing we could certainly at any point decide to cancel that. When we get into the budget item, I will be talking about kind of a series of longer term financial conversations, which will span kind of summer into fall. And so that may give you a better picture as we get into it, what August might look like.
Okay.
So the direction to staff, we need to take public comment on this. So let's open that up for public comment. Anybody has their hand raised?
Mayor Wolf, I do not have any hands raised on this item.
That's good. The public is happy that we're taking some time off. That's good. Okay, so thank you. We'll close that public comment.
And I would ask that you do have a motion and a vote so that we have the official action by minute order to cancel those meetings so we know, not that you can't come back and make a different decision.
I would move that we cancel the July 6th meeting and the September 7th meeting, but we address August as we move closer to that.
I'll second.
And a second by Tillman. And now, Janet?
Councilmember Diaz?
Yes.
Councilmember Tillman?
Yes.
Councilmember Juan?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Cloven?
Yes.
Mayor Wolf?
Yes. Okay. Moving on to action item B. Adopt a resolution authorizing pride flag to be flown at City Hall. This is just a redo of our previous resolutions. So, City Manager, you want to take that?
I will. Thank you. As the mayor said last year, the council authorized the flying of a pride flag at the 3 locations. And the resolution that authorized that did make reference to the Pride Rainbow flag, which has been the traditional flag that has been used representing that community for many, many years. But over time, that flag has continued to evolve. And as you can see from the staff report, there's a whole series of flags that have been identified as pride flags, and the sort of most current version of that is what is often referred to as the modern or a progress pride flag, which has the multicolored triangles emanating from the left-hand side of the flag, et cetera. And so after the unfortunate incident where the Progress Pride flag was stolen from the Grove Park, and we were looking at replacing it, the question came up needing to or wanting to clarify that the intent is to fly a pride flag, not necessarily to limit it to the traditional rainbow pride flag. And so the resolution in front of you this evening states the more general support for a pride flag, recognizing that the rainbow flag may have been the traditional, but it is not the only, nor is it considered kind of the most modern of the pride flags. And with that, I would turn it back to the mayor and the council for any discussion.
Thank you. I'll add to that in that this particular flag has now been accepted by several counties in the Bay Area, including San Mateo and other cities, Sacramento, San Francisco, Concord, are all flying this particular flag. This has been the accepted flag for the new Pride celebration. But nevertheless, the council.
Well, first of all, it was very disheartening that flag was taken in the first place, and based upon information that I discovered in talking with the police department, it was last seen on that Friday night about 7 p.m. and when people returned in force on Saturday morning by 7, it was missing, and they did a thorough search of the area to see if it was in fact disposed of in any disposable container or in the creek bed or what have you, and it was not. They even went so far as to check the cameras that businesses may have around that corner of the park, including La Veranda and Mudvilles, and no visible information was gained from that. Also, the city staff at the maintenance department did an excellent job in getting the traditional pride flag back up promptly early Monday. The only comment that I have, the other flag that the other two are remaining, are they larger than the flag that we put up at the Grove?
No. The Grove is same size. Smaller flagpole, a shorter flagpole.
So that flag is the same size as the
I think the
traditional flag as the ones that are at City Hall and the library.
Yeah, the same.
Because it was I received a comment that somebody thought that the newer flag was larger than the traditional pride flag. And so I don't know. I didn't measure it, but
it's the same. It's the same size as I understand the one that's up there at the Grove now.
Just so long as it's not larger than the American flag. I think that's the concern.
Yeah, I think it's 4x6 if I'm not mistaken. But
yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, so last year when the council first agreed to raise the pride flag, I voted in favor. I'll just reiterate comments that I made last year. LGBTQ rights are civil rights. I support all civil rights. Issuing a proclamation, raising a flag, it's really the smallest of gestures that we can do. But I think that these gestures have the potential to go a long way in communicating a message of inclusiveness that all members of our community are welcome. And I'm glad to support it this year as well. While the question, of marriage, I think has been answered in the country, I think the treatment of the LGBTQ community members still has quite a distance to go. And so raising the pride flag, I think is a small step towards making sure that every member of our community is treated with dignity.
Thank you. I agree with you.
And I would concur with that too.
And I think you've probably been saying that, Jeff, since your original campaign. I know during all of that, all of us were very much in support of pride. Holly, Peter, anything? We'll go to public
since I was in school as an undergrad, all I knew was the lesbian and gay community. And as time has gone on, we've learned that there are so many different shades of that community that I was never aware of. And it's clear that is morphed as well, as the rainbow flag now includes all those shades that are included in that community. So it really is an inclusive flag of many, many people who have different places they come from that they just want to feel accepted. So I'm definitely in favor of flying the pride flag as it is in this proclamation.
And I would concur with everything you all have said. I too am learning, and in fact, I had someone who made the comment that why do they have to keep adding letters of the alphabet, right? As if that was a personal affront to them. And the answer to that is everybody's going to interpret things the way that they want to. But if we're trying to be inclusive and be an inclusive town, and we're adding that to our motto, I think we have to actually, actions speak louder than words. Like we actually have to walk the talk. And this flag, it's raising the pride flag, which is, I'm glad that we're changing the proclamation to read that way so that it's going to change going forward, right? We can't stay stagnant. And so I fully support it and don't have an issue with doing it. So thank you. And thank you guys for your effort that you guys did last year. It has not gone unnoticed.
Thank you. Okay, we'll take public comment now. Janet?
Mayor Wolf, I have Kiku. Kiku, as I promote you to panelist, if you can please unmute your microphone, you'll have up to 3 minutes to speak.
Hello, Kiku.
Hello. Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me tonight. I just want to thank you, first of all, for acknowledging Juneteenth as a proclamation. I look forward to the city that I also represent, the center of Rainbow Community Center, which we serve all of Contra Costa County. I'm the executive director there. That we just raised our Black Lives Matter flag in tandem, actually, with our Progress Pride flag on June 1st. And then I was lucky to go down the street in Concord and be able to raise the Progress Pride flag there that morning as well. So I feel very affirmed hearing from several of you already this evening in regards to, and I want to clarify, it is called the Progress Pride flag. It is a very different flag where it has been added to from the original creator, Gilbert Baker, in 1978 in advance of one of the first Pride parades in the area of the Bay, showcasing that flag. And, you know, I've read some of the comments from community, and I sure do hope that there are folks here this evening also bringing their voice actively to those words on social media and other places. And I also want to applaud Mayor Wolf for the article that you contributed to the Pioneer earlier today. I'm very much looking forward to, I am a writer for the All the Colors column in the Pioneer Monthly, to be able to elevate and progress awareness and education around Progress Pride. And I really want to underscore as well, the black and brown colors on the flag are very intentional. In the chevron, you see it behind me, it is pointing downwards, but it is supposed to point to the right when it's hung and flown. And particularly those brown and black colors represent myself, as well as the pink, white, and blue colors. So as we elevate and start to transcend, you know, these letters of the alphabet as they were named, it's not the first time I've also heard that. I represent those letters and beyond. So I am an out transgender male of color. I happen to be Chinese. And when we think about this past year and a half with all the ways in which racial reckoning and conversations are happening, we need to have these conversations together. And to have them isolated around LGBTQI+ identities and also marginalized folks of color, which we are in our system and societies, that I just really want to applaud Clayton for a second year in a row. For the first time last year, I was proud to be present for the raising of the traditional rainbow flag. And I only couldn't be there this year because I was in Concord as they were raising it for the first time. And as many of you mentioned in different ways, it has been not only around Contra Costa County, it made the USA Today news. So there's a reason why that conversation is happening on a national level. As we, again, I want to thank Dr. Kimberly Crenshaw in the late 80s, who coined the term intersectionality. This is the conversation, raising up marginalized identities. So thank you.
Thank you, Kiku. Appreciate you joining us. Okay, anybody else, Janet?
Mayor Wolf, I do not have any other hands raised on this item. Actually, one just went up. So Jonathan, as I promote you to panelist, if you can please unmute your microphone, you'll have up to 3 minutes to speak.
Yeah, hello.
Hi, Jonathan, welcome back.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I just want to voice my support for flying the Pride flag, Progress Pride flag in Clayton. When Mark and I were looking at homes, we came to Clayton, and when we turned right on center onto EC Drive, there's a house on the corner with a BLM sign and the Pride flag. And I literally looked over to Mark and I was like, look, there's a rainbow flag. I think we should be safe here. And then we went home and we did research, and we saw the Pride celebration from last year. It was a YouTube video with you know, the ceremony of putting up the Pride flag, and it just communicated to me that this would be a safe place to raise our son as a gay couple. So, so the message we send is a very loud and clear one. And I also want to bring your attention to the Progress Pride flag, that there is another flag in the chevron at the center. There's a yellow triangle with a purple circle, and that represents the intersex community. It has been growing globally in the world in terms of queer rights. And so maybe next year we can fly that instead of the one we have now. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan. And Janet, anyone else?
Mayor Wolf, I do not have any other hands raised on this item.
All right, then we'll close the public comment and bring it back to the council for discussion motion.
Mayor Wolf, I do have one hand that was just raised.
Okay, so we'll back it up.
All right, so
Now that
Dee, as I promote you to
person
panelist, if you can please unmute your microphone, you'll have up to 3 minutes to speak.
I apologize. This is Dee. My mouse wasn't working. I apologize. I didn't react quickly enough.
Well, it's working now.
Okay, great. I just wanted to share this. As a resident said on a social media, so you are advocating for a flag to represent the same values as the American flag that represents a select group. He continued with, how is that not divisive? And I will say to that, until we are truly united and treated equal, we will fly the pride flag until we don't need to anymore. I am hearing some residents are not in agreement with the new Progress Pride flag. We know that the first rainbow flag was created in 1978 by Gilbert Baker. Did you know that he refused to trademark the rainbow flag, seeing it as a symbol that was for the LGBT community? Michelle Miller Fisher once interviewed Gilbert Baker. He was thought to be a very generous person. She also commented that Gilbert deliberately did not trademark the rainbow flag. She believed Gilbert left that door open for reinterpretation. She explains, quote, if the new design provocations like this flag, meaning the Progress flag, can help important conversations happen, then it is a demonstration of the continuing power of discipline of design to affect change. I think if Gilbert Baker were here today, he would embrace the new Progress flag. He already knew that not everyone under the rainbow umbrella was not truly being represented in 1978. Perhaps he left that door open because progress was still needed. Thank you.
Thank you, Dee. And Janet, one more time.
Mayor Wolf, there are no hands raised on this item.
Okay, we'll close the public comment to bring it back again to the council for discussion or motion.
I would move that we adopt the resolution as it's described in the agenda.
First, second by Diaz. And Janet, please call the vote.
Councilmember Diaz.
Yes.
Councilmember Tillman.
Aye.
Councilmember Juan.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Cloven.
Yes.
Mayor Wolf.
Absolutely. Okay, so that passes, and we'll move on now to item 11C, letter supporting use of County Measure X funding for Community Crisis Initiative, and again, to the city manager.
Yes. Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. The item before you is a proposed letter to be sent to a community advisory committee on the allocation of Measure X funds, the half-cent sales tax that was approved Contra Costa County-wide, aimed at purposes around health, mental health, disadvantaged populations, et cetera. The Community Crisis Initiative is something that the county mental health folks and cities across the county have been working on for probably almost a year now, looking at creating an adjunct to our 911 law enforcement response for mental health crises, providing a mechanism to allow folks anywhere, anytime access to potentially other types of responses if a law enforcement response is not needed. This will undoubtedly be a very expensive venture for the county. The county is looking at a variety of funding sources. And one of those funding sources is potentially Measure X. This community advisory committee is holding a series of meetings over the last couple of weeks and for another week or two, looking at a wide variety of subject matter areas and learning about them and hearing requests for allocation of funding. June 23rd, that committee is going to hear about mental health and behavioral health issues, and the cities in the county that have been working most closely with the county on this community crisis initiative have asked for letters of support to the committee for potential allocation of Measure X funds for that purpose. And so that is the letter that is before you this evening. It is not city funding, it is countywide funding that will be allocated by the County Board of Supervisors. But the other cities, particularly Walnut Creek, has been a leader in this effort. They have asked for our support in that as well. With that, I turn it back to you, Mayor and members of the council.
Thank you. And this is going to be a very important tool to help relieve some of the law enforcement personnel from having to respond to these kind of things. So, council, questions or comments?
Should just go to public comment.
Anybody? All right. Holly, there you are. Do you have something? No? Okay. Do we have any public comments?
I'm choking, sorry.
I'm sorry. Okay. Okay.
Mayor Wolf, I do not have any hands raised on this item.
Okay, so we'll close the public comment and bring it back to the council.
I listened to several conversations on this topic, from the mayor's conference to being involved with the community right next door to the Clayton Valley Church, which has people who live there who have mental health challenges. I'm all in favor of this, and I like the way it's put out there. It's not a demand, but it's a consideration, and I think it's worth considering. And I support the letter.
Great. Anybody else want to make a motion here?
I'd move that we approve the letter as drafted.
Second.
Okay, so we have a first by Juan and a second by Diaz. And Janet, please.
Councilmember Diaz,
Yes.
Councilmember Tillman,
Yes.
Councilmember Juan,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Cloven,
Yes.
Mayor Wolf.
Yes. And Holly, it's okay, just nod your head. All right. Okay, so that passes. We're going on to item D here, discussion and direction to staff on proposed fiscal year 2021-22 budget. And we'll go to our finance director.
Actually, I'm going to start.
You're going to take it. Okay.
Your city manager is going to butt in and start with just some brief comments, and then I will turn it over to Paul Rodriguez, our finance director, who is leaving us shortly for the city of Pittsburgh, unfortunately, but he is here for our item this evening. And so the purpose this evening is to have our sort of major hearing on the proposed budget for the upcoming fiscal year. The primary focus is on the operating and one-year capital budget, as well as a big focus on the general fund, but also on some of our special funds. As I said, the focus here is really this sort of one-year operating plan. The report and the materials in the council agenda obviously refer to some of the longer term challenges that we're going to have both in the general fund and in some of our other funds. However, we need to get our operating and capital budget adopted so that we have a plan in place to begin operating July 1st. The plan, once we have the hearing this evening, if there are any changes, we will bring back the budget for adoption on June 29th, and then the budget will take place July 1st. Then, as I mentioned briefly in the item on the upcoming council meetings, there are a series of conversations that I plan to bring back to the council regarding longer-term financial planning matters. This includes a discussion on reserves. So what would a recommended reserve policy be, and what would the recommended components of those reserves be? A second will be what potential use of reserves, and most especially, what is the process that we want to go through with respect to allocation of our American Rescue Plan Act funds. We will have by this summer the first allocation of those funds. The second will come about a year later. So we will talk about that after we talk about the reserves. And then, frankly, kick off a longer-term conversation about longer-term financial planning. What does the long-term financial sustainability look like for our general fund? And how are we going to manage that process going forward? Because ultimately, with the pattern that we have right now, where our expenses are growing more quickly than our revenues, as the charts show in your packet, we will be upside down fairly quickly, and we do need to take action to make some adjustments to deal with that. There are a variety of mechanisms to do that. There are a variety of options to do that, but we do need to come back and talk about those options as we go forward. And so the plan is from summer kind of into the fall, when we don't have the pressure of an immediate budget deadline looming, we can start to have those conversations and really engage in the kind of discussion that will set us up for success in the long run. So I'm going to pull up a PowerPoint. Paul Rodriguez will do the bulk of the presentation, and then we will be available for questions. The staff is here to answer any questions that are on folks' minds, as well as the capital budget, and then we will move on from there. So with that, I'm going to stop talking, thankfully, and turn it over to Paul Rodriguez. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Raina. So again, tonight we're bringing forth the City of Clayton's fiscal year 21-22 proposed budget. The budget that we're bringing forward to you this evening incorporates a couple of the recommendations that staff was given when we met with the audit/budget subcommittee consisting of council members Juan and Tillman last Tuesday. So the outline of this presentation is, as it usually is pretty heavily focused upon the general fund, starting out with where we ended up at the end of fiscal year 2019-20, with the actual audited numbers to be presented. Where we're at, or where we're projecting to be at the end of this current year, and then looking at where we'll be a year from now, June 30th, 2022. We're also going to highlight a couple of the special revenue funds, and then as Raina mentioned, we're going to talk about the CIP budget as well. So next slide, please. So the prior fiscal year, and if council will recall, we brought this forward at the mid-year budget presentation for fiscal year 2019-20. The city's general fund closed the year with a net increase in fund balance of $404,000. Adjusted for the non-cash increase to the fair market value of general fund investments, this number was $290,542, which at council direction was transferred into the rainy day fund, which was created last year during the budget process. Of course, the city council can provide direction at any point the use of these rainy day funds. So next slide, thank you. For fiscal year 2021, it's projected that the city is going to end with a $150,491 increase in operational surplus. However, as you know, the year has not yet ended, and there can be some changes to this as we project it out to the end of the year. So that will be brought back to the city council after the audit is complete with the actual year-end status. Next slide, please. And revenue. So you can see our revenue trends. Property taxes in lieu of vehicle licensing fees are our number one revenue source, followed by secured property taxes, franchise fees, and sales and use taxes. Franchise sales and use taxes have kind of bumped up above franchise fees and starting to trend that way, where franchise fees have kind of flattened out. Next slide, please. Budgeted revenue by category, as you can see, again, about 22% is property tax in lieu of vehicle licenses fees. Property taxes making 20.4%, franchise fees being 11.1%, and again, sales and use taxes nudged above franchise fees this year at about 11.3%. And then the other revenues you can see. And please stop me at any time if you have any questions or have any comments that you would like to make. Next slide, please. So again, this is our total revenues are projecting to be about almost $5.2 million, $5,185,450. So as you can see, those are our revenues. This is the allocation of the 8.25% sales tax, which has just been increased in April to 8.75 countywide. But as you can see, the city only gets 1% of that. So it's a very small slice of this pie. They get 1% of the, obviously 1% of the 8.25%. So you can see that's what's broken out for the city of Clayton. Next slide, please. And these are where your property tax dollars go. And again, even kind of more.
Paul, I think you misspoke on the last one. It's not 1% of 8%.
No, that's it's not 1% of 8. It's 1% plus 2% plus 3. It's of the 8. Yeah, you're right. I wasn't clear. It's not 1% of the 8. It's whatever 1% divided by 8.25 is. So it's a bigger slice in that regard. Excuse me, property tax dollars. This is the allocation of the 1% ad valorem property tax. As you can see, the city gets about 6.6% of the total pie. And again, as Councilmember Juan mentioned with regards to the sales tax, this is the same thing. We're not getting 6.6% of the 1%. This is 6.6 of the 100%, which makes up the 1%. And that gets kind of deep into the weeds there. But next slide, please. City of Clayton general fund expenditures. So the audit budget subcommittee made several recommendations that staff incorporated into this budget, which we're proposing and presenting to you this evening. And the budget as initially presented to the committee, we had a staff engineer rather than a contracted position for half of the year and a contract position for half of the year. And that's been taken out and remains 100% contract position rather than adding an employee. The third crossing guard, which if you'll recall, last year was added and was taken out of the rainy day fund. That's been moved from the rainy day fund this year to a general fund expenditure out of the police department. And then $8,000 of dog park annual maintenance were added to the public works budget. Dog park one-time improvements of about $12,000 would need to be added as a one-time expense to the rainy day fund 110 if council gave such direction. So here's our 5-year budget trend. As you can see, it's hasn't varied too much, but where the variances occur primarily are when the expenditures in the capital improvement program, for instance, last year in 2021, capital improvement budget was only 1.4 million. Usually been a little bit between $2 and $2.9 million. And so this upcoming fiscal year, we're budgeting $2.2 million in the CIP program, which again, Raina will be talking about in just a bit. General fund operating expenditures, as you can see, have trended up. Got increases in benefits, insurance increases, just normal increases that are going on across the country. Next slide, please. So again, this is the comparison of the two fiscal years, 21-22 versus 2021 throughout the general fund departments. And again, as you can see, general fund expenditures, operating expenditures for 21-22 have increased by about 7%. One where we've decreased those expenditures is the library. With, if you'll recall, we removed the proposal to continuous Sunday service hours as the bill that would be coming due from the county had been proposed to increase rather dramatically. And again, stop me at any time if you want to go into any more of this in more detail, please. Next slide, please. Excuse me. So again, these are your proposed 21-22 operating expenditures for the general fund by department. And as you can see, about 52 cents of every dollar spent in the general fund is for public safety, more specifically the police department. Well, about 20.4% goes to admin, finance, and legal, 6.6% to community development, 5.9% to the community park, 4.9% to general services, 3.9% to public works, 2.5% to the library, and 2.7% to engineering, and 1.2% to the legislative department. Next slide, please. And this just takes that pie chart and it puts it in a numerical format. So again, you'll see that from top to bottom, these are those expenditures. Next slide. Okay, so we are projecting an ending fund balance at June 30th of 2022 to increase by about $8,000, which while it's not a large increase, we're not in the red, and we're pretty pleased with that, that we were able to keep it under, to keep it a surplus rather than a deficit. So again, our projected ending fund balance would be increasing to $5,623,000, up about $8,000 over the prior year, or the year that will be ending here in just a few days. Next. So there's, we wanted to point out, and we brought this up initially last year, there's 3 special revenue funds that are projected to have revenue shortfalls either in 21-22 or shortly thereafter. And these 3 funds are funded by special parcel levies on property tax bills, and any modifications to those assessments would require a Proposition 218 or similar process. And these 3 funds are Fund 212, the GAD, the Geological Hazard Abatement District, the Neighborhood Streetlight Assessment District, Fund 214, and Fund 216, the Stormwater Assessment District. Next slide, please. As you can see, the GAD, we're projecting it to have end up with a 0 fund balance at the end of this year. Primarily, there are some necessary projects that need to be undertaken in the GAD, and we've balanced this out to a 0 fund balance rather than going into the hole by transferring $20,084 from the GAD Fund 213, which is the Presley settlement, which we were able to use those funds for eligible projects. Next slide, please. The Neighborhood Streetlight Assessment District, Fund 214. As you can see, the fund balance is continuing to go down. As you can see, expenditures are are increasing while revenues have stayed pretty much the same. And so as this continues, we're going to need to make some adjustments or transfers from other funds to keep this in the black. So next slide, please. Thank you. Last special revenue fund would be the Stormwater Fund 216. And as you can see as well, revenues have held pretty steadily at around $136,000. Expenditures, however, depending on the number of projects that are undertaken for a particular fiscal year, have ranged between $159,000 and $190,000. So as you can see, at the end of this 21-22 fiscal year, we're basically going to be at about a $600 ending fund balance going into 22-23. So next slide, please. I'm going to, at this point, turn it over to the city manager, and she will go over the CIPs.
Great, thank you. And I think this is the last slide we have before opening it up even more broadly to questions. And I just want to highlight some of the projects that you'll see in your capital improvement program for this coming year. Pine Hollow Road is a project that's been on the books and creeping forward slowly, but we now are working with the City of Concord and have a grant to do the planning. So we expect that project to continue to move forward. The North Valley Park Playground rehab, that project was largely completed last year. There is one component left, which is some ADA work that needs to be done. And with the 2020 Neighborhood Streets repaving project that I'll talk about in a moment, we will be completing that ADA work. And so that project will then be completed. The school intersections enhancement project. So a couple of the components of that have been completed. The one major component that has not been completed, or hasn't even really begun, is the interactive signal ahead signage that basically, as people are coming toward the school intersection, get advance notice by virtue of a flashing sign that says, well, warning, you probably need to start getting ready to slow down, so that the advance notice helps make that a safer intersection. We are working with county signal folks on that, and they had a retirement and a little bit of delay in getting back to us, but as soon as we get an answer from them on the installation costs, we will be able to bring back an item to purchase the equipment and the installation and move forward on that project. I would like to say that it would be within the next couple of months, i.e. before school comes back in August, and we'll continue to push the county on that topic. They've been a little slow to respond on that. The 2020 Neighborhood Streets repaving project. So this is a project that it's the main reason, the project not getting done in the current fiscal year is the main reason that the CIP for 2021 is relatively lower. And that's because that project was delayed. We intended to move forward with Pittsburgh and Martinez through a joint project. It was all bid together, but the jurisdictions are now moving forward with individual awards. So the paving and curb ramp components will be coming back to the council within the next month or so to award those contracts, but it meant that it wasn't going to get completed in this fiscal year. And then the downtown pedestrian improvement, there are a number of improvements here. We were awarded a couple of years ago some Measure J Transportation for Livable Communities, or TLC money. CCTA has delayed in that funding being made available to us. We're hoping within the next year or two that will actually be made. And so you've got kind of the major projects there that are part of your CIP for the upcoming year. So with that, I believe that we are to questions. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And as I mentioned, Paul is certainly here. Staff is here as well to answer questions. If we need to, we can go back to the presentation, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Rena. Thank you, Paul. Council? Questions?
I just want to thank Paul for the work on the budget. I know it's a long process, especially with you moving on to a new role. Yeah. So, anyways, especially with you moving on to a new role, I know it's a lot of work. So, I want to thank you for doing that. It's quite a bit of an effort. So, thank you.
And thank you. And if I may, it's been a privilege to be here at the City of Clayton. I've enjoyed my time here very much. Thank you.
Good luck, Paul. That's a way to keep moving forward.
Absolutely. Okay, public comment?
Mayor Wolf, I do not have any hands raised on this item.
Okay, we'll close the public comment, bring it back to council. It's quite a presentation. Very disappointed in the enhancements to the school traffic safety. I was, I know we were all hoping to have that done before last school year started, and now it seems like they don't have a very deep bench there, do they? I mean, when somebody retires, all of a sudden everything gets thrown up in the air. But nevertheless,
we'll keep on it.
Yeah, I know you will. Anybody have any questions, comments, motion?
I just wanted to appreciate Council Member Wan and Councilmember Tillman for their efforts last Tuesday, as well as the CAFR in getting this thing to us. I personally had not read the budget until this term as a city council member, and it was a long, detailed, fun read, learning about where we are. And as much as I kind of really get that this budget is kind of a band-aid, we kind of need to put it on. We got obviously some clear challenges ahead of us as a city that we're going to need to address. So I appreciate our city manager saying, let's talk about this. I understand, I know that other city council members have also mentioned this in their social media correspondence. We definitely have some issues. The one thing I did want to mention that I hadn't read before was on page 2 of the background information. If you guys hadn't yet, as a city council, we have a mission statement, a value statement, and a vision statement. And that was kind of interesting for me to read. And I would love to, as a council, talk about those 3 items and how we can actually get together and try to realize our vision, our values, and our mission. Because mission, values, and vision is about who we want to be as a premier small city in this side of the world. And so how do we actually make that happen as we talk about the future? So just thought I'd throw that out there.
Thank you. Anybody else? Anybody have a motion here?
I would move that we, hold on, what's the recommendation?
The recommendation is that you direct us to bring it back to you on the 29th for adoption with, at this point, no changes other than what has already been brought to you this evening.
I would move that we, staff, bring back the final budget for approval at our next regularly scheduled special meeting on June 29th for approval.
And I'd second it.
Okay, so we have a first one, a second from Tillman, and Janet, please call the vote.
Councilmember Diaz.
Yes.
Councilmember Tillman.
Yes.
Councilmember Wan.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Cloven.
Yes.
Mayor Wolf.
Yes. Okay.
I would just like to say, as we move off of this item, a big thank you to Paul and a congratulations. A big thank you to the rest of the staff that has also been working very, very hard to put all of this information together. This is that time of year where it always takes a bit of an extra effort to get through it. So I appreciate everything that they've done, and I appreciate the council's support for staff in this effort. It does go a long way to hear that as we come through the budget process. So I appreciate that, and we look forward to having the ongoing kind of financial conversations that we need to have. So thank you for that.
And I second that, and I think we will vote on that unanimously. That will pass. And thanks also to I echo Peter with regard to our subcommittee. Great work there as well. And Paul, good luck. Thank you. Okay, now moving on, we have to recess now as we move into the Oakhurst Geological Hazard Abatement District meeting. So we're going to take a recess and we'll reconvene after that meeting. And I'll turn it over now to Chairman Tillman.
Thank you. Excuse me. Now I just need to gather all my papers and find the right one.
While you're doing that, I will note that we have Bill Stracker, our city engineer, who will be making part of the presentation on the GAD budget and public hearing. So just when we get to that item, he will be your presenter. So.
Great, thank you. God, hold on a second. I have to cough again. I'm sorry. Okay. Sorry. It's going to keep doing it. Can you guys hear me? It's going to sound a little raspy, but I'm going to try to get through it. I don't know what's in my throat.
You sound fine. You sound great.
Let me just get through to the bottom of these pages because my daughter's computer doesn't like to cooperate with me and mine is broken. So hold on a second. Let me pull it up. Sorry, guys, it's 336 pages I'm trying to scroll through to get to this on her computer. But I'm going to call to order the June 15th Clayton City Council and the Oakhurst Geological Hazard Abatement District, the GAD, excuse me, meeting at, what time is it? 8:30, 8:33. And Janet, if you could call the roll, please.
Board Member Diaz.
Yes.
Board Member Juan.
Here.
Board Member Wolf.
I'm here.
Vice Chair Cloven.
Here.
Chair Tillman.
Here. Okay, great. Hold on a second. I'm still trying to get to it. I don't have the agenda in front of me, Janet, so I'm flying blind. If you can tell me what the next item number is. Sorry, I'm still trying to pull it up.
Chair Tillman, the next item on the agenda is public comment.
Great. Do we have anyone in the audience that would like to make a public comment on this item?
At this time, I do not have any hands raised.
Great. And then the next item, I think, comes to consent calendar, I believe.
That is correct.
Do we have anything on the consent calendar since I still don't have this agenda in front of me?
It's approving the Board of Directors minutes for its regular meeting on April 20th, 2021.
Okay. Do we have anyone who wants to either make a motion or discuss this before we vote on it?
Move approval.
Second.
Great. So approval by Board Member Juan and second by, I couldn't see who that was. I'm sorry.
Jim Diaz.
Yes, by Diaz. Great. Thank you.
Janet,
Janet,
Board Member Diaz.
Yes.
Board Member Juan.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to confirm whether we had public comment since we hadn't asked for that.
I believe you did.
On the consent calendar.
Yes, that's exactly what I meant. Just comment on the consent calendar, but I don't see any, so I think we can move forward with the roll call.
Okay, Board Member Diaz,
Yes.
Board Member Juan,
Yes.
Board Member Wolf,
Yes.
Vice Chair Cloven,
Yes.
Chair Tillman.
Yes. Great. The next item is it item number 4 for public hearing?
Item number 4 is public hearing in which there are none. The
Great.
next item on the agenda is an action item. Presentation and consideration of a resolution to approve the proposed Oakhurst Geological Hazard Abatement District budget for fiscal year 2021-2022 and set a public hearing to be held on June 29th, 2021 to consider the levy of the corresponding real property tax assessments in fiscal year 2021-2022. And that item is for the district manager.
Correct. So Bill Stracker will make a brief presentation on the GAD budget, and then the question will be for the district board regarding setting the hearing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, good evening. Of course, my main task to do with regards to the GAD is to put together what is this? Start my video. There we go. I'm online. Yes, is to put together the budget report and the assessments, and then on into getting the resolution approved that establishes the public hearing for June 29th of this year. With regards to the budget, we looked at some projects that were involved over the past few years. Awani Lane primarily. Awani Lane, we wanted to proceed with that last year. Unfortunately, we didn't have a good estimate of the condition once more. So in order to do that, we put together a geotechnical analysis. That's why we need to transfer funds from the Presley Development Fund over to the GAD funds so that we can proceed with enough funding to do the work, a geotechnical analysis, and then on into doing the work on Awani Lane. So then with regards to that, the general manager's report, you have a copy of it, I assume, and the assessment for this coming year is $43,000, a little over $43,000, which will come up in the public hearing on the 29th. It'll show the details of the information with regards to that, and then on into receiving public comment here, and then we're asking for adoption of the resolution, which will sign the public hearing for June 29th. So, in regards to that,
Can I ask you a quick question before we continue on? So in the prior presentation that we had in the actual proposed budget, and as well as in here, I believe I took notes and it said, it looks like we're going to run out and this will be a zero balance by the end of the year. Can you talk a little bit about how we can address this and what we need to do? I believe Prop 218 is going to be involved, and we're going to have to bring this back to the residents in town. Can you walk us through that a little bit so that for those on the line, they can understand how that process works?
Sure. In order to, during the year, there's certain projects that are included within the budget. Those projects take money, of course, and then that money is generated from the assessments that we receive from the property owners. There's we're limited in how much we receive from the property owners, because of the amount of work that we have to do. We're trying to keep ahead of the real needed work, the monitoring, the Awani Lane, etc., in order to keep the amount of money within the budget so that we can continue next year for that budget. Unfortunately, under the Prop 218, there's a certain amount of money. We can't do an additional, it has to be in a vote to do an additional project to make more money. And so in order to do that, as I mentioned, you have to, the vote was tried before on this, and that's what we received the consumer price index as the amount of additional assessment, additional inclusion in the GAD budget. This year, 3.8%, so we were able to increase the assessments by 3.8%, and that's included in the report. And so it just, the way the law was written, you have to go to a vote each time you try to do it. And so, but we were able to, before, they were able to include the consumer price index, which gives us basically a way out to not be able to generate additional income, because you can get additional income through that consumer price report, which was very favorable for this year at 3.8%. Last year was 1.1%. So yeah, that's basically how we have to proceed with this.
So that last sentence you just said, that's basically how we have to proceed. I get that that's for this, for current, the current time period. What about going forward? I mean, is that something you can walk me through to explain what has to happen? So it sounds like we would either need to go to the public again, or how much is left in the Presley settlement that we would be able to access, and how often can that be accessed?
Wait, in order to get additional funds, it needs by 218, it needs to go to additional vote. So in order to do that, it costs money either way of doing it. And then there's $123,000, I think it is, left in the Presley loan. So there's money there that can be used. And yet you want to be kind of circumspect with regards to how that's used, because there's needs that you have within the district. And each year, we try to go through to make sure that we have the best, the most riskiest, that word, the riskiest project that we can continue with, that can be funded within the existing budget. So it's kind of like a walking a tightrope, so to speak. So the next, if you wish to try to get additional funding, then you'd have to go to try another vote of people, and it was turned down quite significantly the last time. So, I know quite a few other cities are currently trying to do that. I was previously with the city of Linwood. They're looking to do the same thing this next year. Cities are getting to a crisis point of, we've got projects that need to get done, and yet the amount of money is not there. And so the way it's occurred with me before is to get proponents on your side and get a real push forward with regards to the stakeholders, with regards to the public. And let's look at this risk. There's a lot of risk here that needs to be done. Is it worth it not going to a vote to increase the funding?
Thank you. That is helpful, because I think.
Chair Tillman, if I
go ahead. Yeah.
Thank you. You had asked about how much more time I think we would have based upon some of our history of the drawdown of the Presley Settlement Fund. And at the end of 2022, we expect to have 95,000 there. The last couple of years, we've dipped in about 45 or 50,000. As Mr. Stracker said, that was to really cover some project costs. The regular monitoring cost is somewhere around the neighborhood of, like $15,000-$20,000. So you would
Right.
have next year and probably a little bit of the year after before it's completely drawn down. It will depend upon if there's anything important that needs to be immediately addressed from a safety standpoint. But it's I think part of that conversation the city manager talked about in terms of not only the city's general fund budget, but we have 3 specialized funds that are also running out of money, this being one of them in terms of operational cost and needs outpacing the revenue stream. And the 218, as I recall, is a weighted ballot measure of a majority protest process. So it's a little bit complicated voting. It's not just a straight up, each household gets 1 vote. It's a little bit more involved. And we can get that information back when we have the conversations, I believe, regarding, fiscal issues, as the city manager said, later this summer and fall.
Perfect. That would be helpful, not just for me and the rest of the board, but I think for the residents as well to understand the ramifications of not doing something, and
Right.
maintaining status quo is not an option. So thank you.
And within
Anybody
the budget, we're including the monitoring of the problems up in the area, so that we can get a good handle of what's the next step that we need to do. And then, Telock Way is a good example of a problem up there where some of the property is actually starting to crack and et cetera. And so there are some areas that really need to be looked at. And fortunately, the land has not moved as quickly as it actually could. But I mean, that at least keeps it somewhat safe. But we can't say that's going to go on forever. So we need to maintain and obtain additional funding for that GAD area.
I agree.
And just to be clear, Chairman and board members, the assessment funds pay for the public improvement in the public maintained areas. It's not related to private property issues.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
Does anyone else on the board have any questions? Okay, great. So we have a recommendation then to receivers report. We already took public comment. And then does someone want to make a motion to adopt the?
I just had one question.
Of course, yes.
In the event that there isn't funding sources available, I think that we always have the option to fund through the general fund. So.
The general fund that is also heavily relied upon relative to its revenues. So it is part of that interwoven conversation about financial sustainability, but absolutely general funds would be available for those purposes as needed.
Thanks.
Thank you. Okay. Anyone want to make a motion?
Did you take public comment on this portion?
Yeah, public comment.
I'm sorry, I did not. Yep.
Okay.
Do we have anybody for public comment?
Chair Tillman, I do not have any hands raised on this item.
Okay, then I'll bring it back to council. Does anyone else have anything else they want to add before we? Any other questions for Bill? Okay, go ahead, Peter.
No, I was going to move to accept the resolution as written.
Okay.
Second that.
Okay, so board member Cloven made a motion and board member Wolf second. Janet, can we take a roll call?
Board member Diaz?
Yes.
Board member Juan?
Aye.
Board member Wolf?
Yes.
Vice Chair Cloven?
Yes.
Chair Tillman?
Yes. Okay, Janet, are there any other items on the agenda? I don't see any other, unless there are board, actually I do see it here. Do any other board members want to have a request or a directive for future meetings? No? All right, then I'm going to adjourn the meeting at, looks like 9:50 on my watch.
8:50.
Jesus Christ, 8:50. 8:50 p.m. So we're adjourned, and now
it just felt like 9:50.
Yes, go back to the regular meeting. So I'll turn it over to you, Mayor Wolf.
Thank you very much. And we will reconvene. Excuse me. And now I have Holly's thing going on.
Sorry.
We convene the city council meeting and move on to our council items limited to council requests for our directives for future meetings. Do we have any? No? Okay. And
I do.
You do?
Okay. It's kind of a question, and but I would like to figure out a way that we can have some type of I don't know if we want to call it team building forum, whatever, but something where the rest of the council and the planning commissioners can get together to have not only just training and an opportunity to have a conversation with each other. And I'm perfectly happy with that being in public in whatever type of form we need to do that. But I think it's something that has to happen because 3 minutes in public comment isn't helping. Or things on social media. I think that it would be nice to be able to level set and have a conversation with everyone so that we can set expectations, especially with the new ones coming on board. Not only that, but getting them training. So I'm glad to hear that Ed Miller was able to get some training. I think I stressed it when we were going through our training earlier that it's difficult to come on to a new position and not understand exactly what it is you're supposed to do. Commissioner Gavidia had mentioned it on one of the calls, like just trying to understand with the procedures that we have as a council, where that falls for the commissioners. And I just think it would be nice to actually have a conversation with all of us to understand where we're trying to go. So I would request that. And I'm looking at Mala and possibly Raina for guidance on how we make that happen.
Anybody else? Okay, all right. So seeing none, we're going to move on now to our closed session. So we will go into closed session now, and I will come back and report out once that is finished. We are going to adjourn now to our next meeting, which is a special meeting on June 29th. Please stay safe in this crazy heat. Good night.
Have a good night, everyone. Bye.